Hello, sir. We're calling from. Are you interested in borrowing a loan at just 11% per annum?
No. Have you noticed that lately every major company is offering a loan to you? In fact, borrowing a loan in India right now is one of the easiest things. Airtel, a huge telecom company in India, offers you a loan. SlicePay, another company, offers loan to students with easy repayment options. The food you purchase from delivery apps could also be purchased as a loan. In fact, every order you see on Amazon right now could be purchased first and paid for later. In a world where borrowing a loan just 5 years ago required weeks worth of paperwork, why are loans suddenly being disbursed in mere hours? In September 2022, a report by Center for Economic Data and Analysis noted that half of all the Indian households, which is about 50.3%, had borrowed money in some form or the other. Over 33.1% of the population had borrowed loans for consumption expenditure. But what exactly is this consumption expenditure? The thing is that your food, clothing, energy, transportation, and healthcare all include as your consumption expenditure. And apparently, everything is being offered to you for a loan just in case you don't have the money right now. If you don't have money to order food, you can take a small loan from an app like Simple. If you don't have money to buy a computer, you can pay in installments from Amazon. If you don't have money to buy a car right now, it's okay. You can just pay 10% right now and the rest in the coming 5 to 7 years. These options presented in front of us right now are extremely attractive for people who either work jobs or don't have the capacity to make a huge purchase at once. But why is this happening suddenly? Who exactly is being benefited here? Well, the thing is that banks are the entities that are being benefited primarily. It's almost a no brainer as to how banks are making money by offering loans. You borrow a loan, you repay it along with the interest, and this interest is what keeps the banks running. In fact, 5 or 6 years ago, buying an iPhone in India was considered to be a big deal. Right now, buying an iPhone in India is probably one of the easiest things that you can do. And all this has happened because of the ease of availability of personal loans. Personal loans have become increasingly popular as they provide a quick way to access funds for various needs. In India, NBFCs or non banking financial companies have emerged as a preferred choice for personal loans. We have close to 10,000 registered NBFCs that are operating in the country, and there's again a growing demand for this service. These NBFCs are financial institutions that offer banking service without a banking license. They operate by raising funds through loans, deposits, and other financial instruments. And you'll be surprised to know that most times these are the same institutions that are still tied up with the banks. So, if you're opting for a loan from an NBFC, most times you're opting for a loan from a bank. Of course, these loans seem harmless and easy to people, and most times, if you're borrowing small loans and paying them back in full in time, you'd pretty much be fine. However, there are also certain cases where the failure of repayment arises major problems. The second problem is the growth of fake loan apps in India, and most times these fake apps provide easy loans with attractive interest rates that people usually fall for. This leads to serious repercussions that even the lenders aren't aware of most times. And companies are getting extremely eager to offer you loans. The thing is that most fintech companies have automated and simplified the loan application process. What used to take weeks worth of paperwork, in person bank visits, and multiple document verifications can now easily be done online. These platforms have made credit accessible to anyone with a smartphone. One of the biggest players in this space is BNPL, which is also known as Buy Now Pay Later services. BNPL services allow you to make purchases instantly and spread out the payments over time, often without any interest for short periods. What used to be reserved for large, expensive purchases like electronics or home appliances is now available for everyday things like groceries, clothes, and even food delivery. And here's something even more interesting. Companies want you to take these loans. Why? Because there's something very valuable at stake. and that is your data. In today's world, companies collect a massive amount of personal data. From your online shopping habits to the apps that you're using, there's a lot about your financial behavior that these companies are secretly tracking. And this data is gold. With it, they can make customized loan offers that feel almost too good for you to pass up every single time. The more you purchase, the more they want you to purchase. For example, if you have been regularly purchasing from an e commerce platform, that platform knows what you like, how much you're spending, how often you make big purchases. Then they use this information to offer you credit right when you need it the most, like during a big sale or festival season. Companies like Paytm and Cred have also eligibility factors, and the more you spend, the more chances you have of increasing your credit limit. And of course, having a huge credit limit just sitting there every time you log into the app almost seems tempting every single time. Right now, more than half of the households in India are in some form of debt. So, the most important thing is how can you save yourself from this debt trap? Here are a few detailed tips to help you become debt free right now. First things first, be mindful of your expenses. Start by tracking every dime of money you're earning and spending. Categorize your expenses that includes your rent, groceries, utilities, transportation, and other spending that also includes you eating out. Set a clear, realistic monthly budget with defined limits for each category. Regularly, you can review your spending to ensure that you are staying within your budget, and you can also identify areas where you can cut back. The second thing is to prioritize high interest debt first. One of the best ways to do this is to review all your outstanding loans and credit card debts. Rank them by interest rates and start with the highest. By paying off the highest interest debts first, like loans and credit cards, you reduce the total interest burden. This method is also known as the avalanche method. This saves you money in the long run. Continue making minimum payments on other debts to avoid penalties while aggressively paying off the costliest debt. Now, coming to number three, avoid new loans and credit card debt for now. Once you carefully analyze it, you realize the more spending limit you have been given by these apps, the more you have the urge to purchase more things. You can resist the urge to take on new loans or credit card debt while you're working on becoming debt free. This includes avoiding the temptation of things like buy now, pay later schemes or zero interest EMI offers, which often lead you to debt accumulation over time. If you don't have cash for a purchase, reconsider whether it's really essential for you. Focus on paying for things only with money that you have rather than relying on credit. And the final thing is to increase your income through side hustles. Even though making a good amount of money is no excuse to spend recklessly, but still having side income allows you to fight off this debt very easily every single month. Right now, we are living in such a time where there's a plethora of ads all around us. If you are driving to the airport, you see a huge banner of multiple things that they're offering to you at different EMI options. If you want to purchase a car, there are hundreds of options available for you at really easy EMIs. But the thing is that every single time, these kinds of things end up putting you in more debt. And the more debt you accumulate, the worse your credit score and the more your misery. At the end of the day, save yourself from these kinds of traps and educate your friends and family members about the same things.